Hi, I'm Lindsay.
And I'm Charlie.
And this is the Jug O Sip podcast.
You can find the Jug O Sip podcast on YouTube and Spotify every Monday and Friday.
And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and follow at Jug O Sip Podcast on all social media.
All right. Jug O Sip podcast episode 3.
Charles, why don't you tell the people what we're talking about today?
Well, we really like this show called Deadly Women, but we don't call it Deadly Women. We call it Deadly Bitches.
It's a pretty, long-running show. It's on Investigation Discovery.
Yeah. It's on Hulu, too, right? Yeah, well, we only watch it on Hulu.
It's an Investigation Discovery show.
Yeah,
though.
right.
And it's basically, it takes different female killers, serial killers, and tells their stories through generally really horrible acting and really horrible everything.
The acting is awful.
Oh God, it's garbage.
It's really bad.
There's a couple of people that have been really good. Like I have, friends that have been on that show that did a really good job. I had seen some people that kind of stood out, but generally speaking, it's all it's really cheesy.
If you've ever seen one of those Lifetime made-for-TV movies
that are weirdly good, but kind of weird.
Now, a lot of those were good, but if just think about the really bad ones. Imagine that, but it's a whole series of those.
We're not talking about the Lifetime movies that are oddly good because it's on Lifetime.
Nah.
Because I have seen some really fucking good movies.
Me too.
Oh God.
Yeah, and my mom was in her 40s and was going through menopause when I was younger, so I watched a lot of Lifetime. That was I just did.
See, when I was a kid, The Golden Girls and Designing Women and Murphy Brown and the shows I enjoyed as a 3-year-old for some fucking reason were on Lifetime.
You were watching Murphy Brown when you were 3?
She spoke to me in levels of anger I understood.
At 3? What? All right.
You've met my family.
No, I feel you. Okay, so anyway.
But I would get up at 6 in the morning on days where my parents would sleep in on weekends, and instead of watching cartoons, I'd go turn on Lifetime and watch The Golden Girls, and then proceed hours later to ask my parents what a virgin was.
I was watching Power Rangers because that made sense for me.
I kind of watched a little mix of everything. It was a little bit of adult content that my parents couldn't stop me from watching.
All right. Well, how did you first discover Deadly Women?
We're going to be calling it Deadly Bitches this whole time, and we're sorry because the show is not called that. But
not in this house, it's not called Deadly Women.
We give every TV show its own name.
Yeah. What's one? The Office, we just call it Dwight Schrute.
Well, that's mostly for the dog. The dog understands TV shows.
Yeah.
And the cat does too. They understand TV shows by the characters, but not the name of the show for some fucking reason.
Right.
The dog and the cat will watch TV shows and pick a show they like or a character they like and just watch it. It's so fucking strange. We refer to Married with Children as the Peg Bundy show because for some reason the cat really likes Peg Bundy.
Right. And then the dog really likes Dwight Schrute.
From The Office. Which is called The Office is the Dwight Schrute show.
They both love Rick and Morty, and that's really convenient because the name of the show is Rick and Morty.
They have a different favorite.
Yeah. They would stop watching it if we called it the Jerry Show.
We need to stop talking about our pets like they're our kids, man.
That's true. So anyway.
We're going to think we're fucking crazy.
It's too late.
Too late.
Episode 3. They already know that. So Deadly Women. How did you get introduced? Because I don't even... If I can rack my brain, let me see if I can remember how. But how did you get introduced to the show?
What's really weird about this show is I've been introduced and reintroduced to this show various phases of my life. So when I was 21, I moved to Arizona and I discovered it there. I think at the time it was on Netflix. Okay. And I was around I think, if I'm not mistaken, Halloween time because I was in the mood to watch scary and spooky content.
Scary spoopies.
Scary spoopies. But I was out of movies that I was interested in watching because back then their content was kind of limited. And I got really into it for a really long time and just binged it. Just Celebrity Ghost Stories and not Ghost Hunters. Ghost Hunters. And I would get... Scariest Places on Earth. That's another one. I would just kind of binge these shows and get obsessed with spooky content and scare myself and then stay up all night. And... because I'm an idiot. So then I kind of just stopped watching it for a bit, and then I got a job at a toy store in 2015 in Newport, Rhode Island. At the time, it was called Good Kids Toys. I don't know what it's fucking called now. I lost track of that place. But because it was a touristy town, you had a lot of dead space, and
a lot of murder. No, I'm joking.
We're getting to that part. And, you know, I would have hours where I didn't see a customer or really have much to do. And you can only dust a store so many times. So when I knew my boss had gone home for the day, like I was not going to see him and I knew that store didn't have cameras, I'd go lay in the giant piles of stuffed animals that were bigger than me and turn on my phone and watch Deadly Women. Sorry, Mark. That's my old boss.
That's your confession?
He can't fire me now.
You sure?
It's too late. It's been 5 years. The statute of limitations of firing me is gone.
Okay, that's fair.
I moved out of state. He can't fire me now.
Okay.
At worst, he could, you know, call me and be like, you raggedy bitch. That's the best he can do. That's the best he fucking can do. And I have been called a raggedy bitch many times in my life, so that does not hurt my feelings.
All right. That being said, the way I discovered the show is when I was still living with my mom. For years, even as a kid, well, mainly like as a teenager, I was really into the Discovery Channel channels and like
investigation, discovery things.
Because they had Discovery Channel, then they had like Discovery Science, and then
now
they
it's
had
ID.
Discovery Medicine. And you know they
There's so
had
many different types of channels for
right,
like,
and
things.
they were all licensed by Discovery Channel. And when my mom got cable, I went crazy watching Discovery Channel stuff, which is why now it's like I'm a reservoir for random information because it would be cartoons and Discovery Channel. That's all I would watch. See,
I was so sporadic as a kid. Like I said, I watched everything from like Golden Girls, Murphy Brown Designing Women to like cartoons to. Sometimes I watch like animal stuff. I just kind of liked whatever the fuck I felt like that day. Right. I was already a stoner in training. Like I was already like this weird kid that just enjoyed TV way too fucking much.
Right. Well, one day as I was watching Discovery Channel, they changed it from like Discovery Crime to Investigation Discovery. I think that's what happened. I don't know. But the point is, I was on there. I don't remember it that well.
Yeah, it's like I don't work for these people. I don't know.
I don't know what they did.
Call Candice DeLong and ask her.
I will. So I was watching it one day, and this show came on called Deadly Women. And first of all, the title of that is like, well, that's not, you know, that's not exactly easy to figure out. What is it? What could that possibly be about?
That could mean a lot of shit.
That could mean anything. Deadly Women could be about a lot of look. Okay, the point is, I like the show. All right,
it's a good ass show.
It's a good show, and like we said earlier, it's just a show where every episode. They pick 3 women, each one of them having murdered someone for whatever the reason is.
It's a thematic thing. Like, they'll have people who murder for money, women who killed their parents, people...
And the titles will be hilarious. The titles would be so funny. It would just be like, these deadly women had knocked on the door or something like that.
Yeah, the narrator and the intro is already really intense. Like, I mean, I get it. It's a show about murder. I mean, it's intense. No one's going to be like... casual about murder and just go eat pizza afterwards unless you're a sociopath. But like they'll be like, these deadly women played a game of death and lost. These women stole money from their husbands and mercilessly stabbed them in their sleep. These are murderous money mavens or something.
It would be something silly like that.
As you can see, I've watched this show way too many fucking times, and I'll get like.
By the way, you know, ID Investigation Discovery. If y'all looking for a new Deadly Women voice actress, like specifically a woman, hit me up. I mean, hit us up. We want to do it together. Let Lindsay do it.
Shameless self-promoting, are we?
It's not. Well, yeah.
I am really good. You can reach me at.
Okay, I got a list of titles here. Let's just read off. Okay, so we got Loveless. Mind you, we're starting at season 13. Like, there's a lot.
Oh, this is my favorite. Hang on, let me read this one like real quick. Fatal Fixation. Like that one's ridiculous.
You got Bloody Money, Ditched and Desperate.
Okay, so you know what? Let's fuck the titles for a second because let's talk about our actual favorite part about the show. We all know what we're talking. Well, you and I know what we're talking about.
Okay.
So let's tell the people.
Let's just be real. This is an excuse to talk about Candice DeLong.
This is all this ever was. That's
all. That's all this was, and I'm not ashamed of that.
Charles and I are.
I'm not gonna be ashamed of that. I won't let people shame me
into loving loving Candice DeLong.
If loving Candice DeLong is wrong,
I don't want to be right.
I don't want to be right.
Charles and I are in a monogamous relationship, and that is the only woman we would ever have a threesome with. Like, if people who've never seen the show, Candice DeLong is a former retired FBI criminal profiler, which already hot. So she has all this insight on how a killer works, on why a person might kill, if a person killed out of, a justified reason. Like she can profile all of that.
Yeah, the woman is very experienced and she's good at her job.
I think that's what makes her so interesting is she's deeply intelligent. But what I love most about this woman is she's deeply intelligent, knows her shit, but she is hilarious and sometimes doesn't mean to be, because she'll get so serious about something it loops back around to being hilarious.
She is because she's sarcastic as hell,
and it's salty.
And it's so funny. It's like every episode she's talking about how she personally knew one of these chicks, which is impossible because some of these episodes take place in like the 1800s.
But she's done enough research that, and like I know what that's like, because if you're the kind of person who can sense energies on people and you can really pay attention to human behavior, you feel like you know them. Like there are people who are like famous that, I don't even like because I get bad vibes. And
she'll just say
make you feel certain
the
things.
most hilarious type. She'll just be like Carol. She only valued one thing: greed, sex, and herself.
One of my favorite,
like that's how she talks.
One of my favorite lines ever. Oh, that's our laundry.
Oh, that's the laundry?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We could pause it. Let me just pause it. Okay. All right. Yeah. So
that was awkward. Sorry.
Yeah, that was weird. We had they dropped some laundry off of us because social distancing, and we had to stop so I could get it.
Yeah, we have our laundry delivered and picked up because we
do
live in
right
New York.
now. Well, yeah, we do right now. That's new.
We still drop it off.
Yeah, we drop it off, but they didn't deliver it before.
Yeah, this is just easier. But yeah, like in New York, we don't have a washer and dryer, so other people do our laundry for us. Yay!
It's all good.
It's all great.
It's mutual.
And it's mutual. It's a reciprocation.
What's the chick from Chicago? Mama Maisley or something?
What? Are you on crack? No, matron Mama Morton.
I was all over. I said Mama Maisley. Wow. Anyway, Deadly Women.
That sounds like a fictional Gone with the Wind character.
Mama Maisley?
Mama Maisley. It sounds like a southern old lady that gives good advice and sits on her porch and drinks mint juleps like, Mama Maisley, can you give me some good advice?
Mama Maisley, I need you to tell me how to do. I never danced with a woman before, and I need this. Okay, I'm going too far.
Yeah,
so
we got way. That train went so far off track, we smacked into a tree in a different state. So we're back to Candice DeLong. There was this one particular Candice DeLong moment that is literally my favorite. I wish I could remember which episode it was because there were so many episodes that were based on money and greed.
Yeah.
But my absolute favorite was she seriously looked dead ass in the camera and goes, and she was looking for Big Daddy Funbucks to pay for it.
This shit.
She referred to a sugar daddy as Big Daddy Funbucks. I literally.
How do you even come up with something that silly? This chick looked in the camera dead
That bitch
serious,
can marry both of us. I don't.
She was just like, and she was looking for Big Daddy Funbucks
to pay for it. And she's got like these beautiful blue eyes that are super intense. So when she gets at tits, it's just like looking at a really angry cat.
Right. That's prone to saying silly shit.
She's so fucking salty, and her sarcasm is so dry. You're like, I can't tell if you're being silly on purpose or if you're just saying some shit that just is looping back around to hilarious.
Really quick, because I love these titles. So like,
yeah, we gotta like, Beauty and the Beastly.
Beauty and the Beastly.
My God,
that's not. They didn't even try grammatics on that.
You know what
one.
pisses me off? In season 13, they have Fatal Love and Fatal Attraction, like 5 episodes apart. Y'all. You got to get more creative on this.
Yeah, like come on now.
Lover Makes 3? What? You didn't write Twisted Triangle of Entrapment or some shit? Like
you got Jilted and Jealous.
Love Turns to Hate. That's lame. That's boring.
The Blame Game. They didn't even.
Fatal Ties. How many times are you going to use the word fatal?
Well,
learn synonyms.
Especially when you consider the fact that the whole show is about deadly women. If they had an episode that didn't end fatally, then they'd have to name it something else. Like
Married Today, Gone Tomorrow. See, if I were naming these shows, it'd be like, she gave him head in a bag. She won his heart in a jar.
Keep It in the Family.
That's gross. That just sounds like
that implies a lot.
That implies a lot more shit that I don't want to. Anger Mismanagement. What the fuck is that?
Hot Temper, Cold Hearts.
I remember that one. That was a good episode.
Illicit and Lethal.
God, when I think of the word illicit, I love that word, but it makes me think of a tawdry romance novel.
Okay, this is hilarious. DIY burial.
Oh my God, this one. Girl on girl. That's setting everyone up for disappointment.
That's the whole title.
Killer cougars. Oh my God. I can't, that just makes me confused, because if my high ass came home and was like, I don't see any fucking cougars on here, where are the damn lions? Like,
and it's a Discovery Channel show too. That's just insult to injury.
And also, like, killer cougars, I mean, yeah, that's what cougars do. They're big fucking cats.
Oh, this one's super funny. Granny gets a gun. Word? Granny gets a gun? We need to watch that.
Bad to the bone. Wow.
What you saw?
Sugar and Spite. That is literally a move.
I love that. Oh my God. Sugar and Spite.
That's one of my favorite titles I've seen.
You need to get that tattooed on your hand.
Isn't that kind of just my personality?
Right. That's what you need. Sugar and Spite.
Should I get that next to the tattoo I plan to get that says "fuck you, pay me" in French?
There's 178 episodes of this. Oh my God.
Yeah, there's like 13 seasons, dude.
Right.
It's a really good fucking show.
No,
man.
It's a great look. If you can watch it, go ahead and watch it.
I just kind of, wish they got more creative with their narration, but fine, whatever.
Yeah. But, if you can get around to it, watch the show. It's a very good show.
And, I mean, if you're like us and you have a really sick sense of humor, this shit could be hilarious. Now,
yeah, back to Candice, though.
Well, real quick before we cut back to Candice, I will say there are some episodes that they bother me. Like, I can't really watch ones where people kill elderly people.
Yeah, that messes me up.
I don't like, especially or babies, children and elderly people, the vulnerable people who are vulnerable or sick. It really, I mean, obviously you shouldn't murder anybody, but when it's dark like that, it's just awful to watch. But you have to, I skip certain episodes. Like, I won't watch anything about elderly abuse, things like that, because we're not enjoying the murders itself. It's just the overall experience of the entire show is hysterical. And the best part is they shoot in Australia.
Yeah.
And a lot of these cases are American cases.
Yeah.
And you hear these Australian actors struggle real hard.
Yeah.
To keep their American accent.
Trying to push all the Aussie.
They'll be like
out of their mouth.
They'll be like, David, where have you been? And we're like, oh God. Girl,
where have you been?
You didn't even study American dialects, did you? None of them.
That was a rough one for her.
Yeah, she had a bad week.
That was tough. There was one I saw recently, and this was crazy. So what happened in the episode is it took place in the 18th century, like Mexico, LA area, where everybody was on the honor code. So your reputation and things like that really mattered. And there was this chick who she was a virgin, and she was looking for a suitor.
Do you remember what her name was, what this case was? I don't recognize.
I don't remember. But it was one of the recent seasons. But she was looking for a suitor, and this dude who they literally referred to him as a cad. Basically, he was a hoe. Like, he just loved. I love the phrase a cad, though, because it's more than a man hoe. It's a guy who treats women like shit all around, just like a piece of shit, and he's kind of just like a scumbag. Yeah, and.
But a high-class scumbag that you hit with a shoe or something, not...
Pretty much, yeah. Like, you got to slap him with a glove.
And say, well, I never.
Yeah, that's how you get to him. But basically, one of these dudes, he wanted to bed this chick so bad that he climbed up to her window one night on some Romeo and Juliet type shit. Wait, they never climbed. Did he ever? Whatever. Point is, it was he
knew a virgin would fall for that, because a well-seasoned woman would be like, get the fuck off my trellis.
Right. So this dude is at her window talking about, I want to marry you. Let's just elope with me. I'll set you up in a hotel and we'll be married by tomorrow.
Oh, so a cad is an 18th century fuckboy.
That's exactly
because that's what a fuckboy does. They've existed since the dawn of time. The dude that's like, I want to marry you, and they tell you they love you, so you'll do stuff with them and have sex or do whatever the fuck they want. And then even if it isn't just sex, they manipulate you, and then they disappear into the night and you ghost you. Right.
So this dude gets this chick to leave, and her whole family is angry, but she leaves anyway because she's naive. I think she was like 17, 18. She didn't have enough world experience to know not to do this.
How young you were at that age. I mean, I was so dumb at that age.
Now, the reason I mention this episode is because the acting is not awful, but the accents, oh my God. They were because everybody in this episode is supposed to be like Mexican. They're supposed to be, at the very least, they're supposed to be people whose first language is Spanish. And they didn't nail that even a little bit. Like, it was like the dude who was playing the cad, right? He was supposed to be this Don debonair Antonio Banderas looking in the
like
face.
Like a Don Juan DeMarco type of dude?
Yeah, looking all suave and sweaty because it's hot in L.A.
His Zorro-ass cheekbones and shit.
Yeah, he was supposed to look like that, but he talked like this. He was just like, I want to marry you, but all you have to do is leave the house.
Also,
that's it. That's all you gotta do.
So he was supposed to sound like a suave, sexy Hispanic man.
Yeah.
But instead, he sounded like a Melvin.
Yeah, he sounded like Kermit.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, he sounded like Kermit the Frog wearing a black Zorro hat. Like that's.
Piggy, I'm here for you.
And he wasn't even like with the voice. Cause look, people know that voices are an attractive thing, and
yeah, makes a big difference.
He was the kind of dude where he had the kind of voice where it was like, there's no way that he has blown through lots and lots of women. Like no. It's just not possible. He speaks like an incel.
It sounds so weird to think about, but your voice and energy and all of that really does make a difference to how people are attracted to you.
Right.
And like, also names. Like, I'm not going to go and have sex with anybody with a doofy ass name. Like, that's fucking horrible. Like, imagine having sex with a guy named Gilbert.
Ooh, Gilbert.
A Melvin.
By the way, there's a podcast I listen to where one of the guys is named Gilbert. Shout out to him.
Sorry, man.
Yeah, sorry about that.
You don't have a sexy name.
It's not.
But if you go by Gil. That's kind of hot.
Here's what you do.
That sounds like you have money.
Here's what you do. For real. Go by Gil. Matter of fact, don't even tell the chick your name. Don't even do that. For the 5 years you're in the relationship with her.
I got it. Wait.
Yeah.
From a woman, go by Gil, get a sports car. You'll be fine.
What kind of sports car?
Lambo.
A Lambo? You think a man named Gil could afford a Lambo?
Okay, to be fair, I'm a child of the 90s, so back in the day, a man named Gil could afford a Lambo. Because usually But when I think of a Gil, I think of a guy that is kind of a business guy. I think of somebody who's kind of...
But he's like 63 and celibate.
You know what other name is? You know what other name isn't very sexy?
What?
Clay. It's
Clay?
like having sex with mud or dirt. It's just like, I don't think of something sexy. I just feel like I need to go make pottery.
Yeah, Clay's always sounded very southern to me.
It doesn't sound like a name either. Like wow, that's a lump of dirt. That just shows how little you give a fuck about your kid.
Clay sounds like that. The most that dude will be able to offer you is a ride in his truck.
Okay, I hope my dad's not listening to this podcast because my dad has the fucking worst name ever.
I like your dad's name.
Yeah, but it's not sexy.
No, but I like his name because it's an adorable name. Well,
and he also has an adorable nickname, which is better. So my father's first name is Waymond.
Yeah.
His middle name is Denver. He is Waymond Denver Cork II.
I love that name.
And he goes by Corky.
I love that name.
But and it's a weird sounding name and it's interesting, but like.
But that's why I like it.
You wouldn't look at that name and be like, "That's a sexy fucking name."
Yeah, it's not a panty dropper or anything, but it's a good
thing he's charming because he would have never gotten another wife.
Well, wow, that's deep. That's crazy.
I'm just kidding, Dad. You're great. I love you. Don't punish me. Don't ground me.
He's a really charming dude. So he's the kind of guy where the name don't even matter. Like my name is crazy. My name is ridiculous.
Your name is sexy.
My full name is ridiculous. I sound like I own land and people.
Okay, but your name is sexy. Except, okay, you have two middle names, and I like one of them.
Should I just say what my full name is so people know?
Yeah, say your full name, and you can explain why I hate your middle name.
My full name is Charles Gabriel Alexander Grant the third.
That's a great name.
Now nobody says the third, but I'm the third in that line.
Well,
of
that's
people.
Just for paperwork and shit to differentiate differentiate which one you are.
Right, because I was named after my father, and he was named after his father, so I would be the third in line.
Well, that cycle ends with us because I don't believe in naming your kids after the parents.
My my dad's friends, from time to time, they refer to me as Charlie Jr., which is fine.
As long as I don't call you Junior by itself.
I couldn't accept that.
That sounds like you would have a beer gut and be fixing tractors.
I couldn't accept that, and I haven't even ridden a tractor.
I don't think you've ever even seen a tractor in person.
I've seen them.
At my dad's house, yeah.
Well, I have family from the South too.
That's true. That's true. But I'm just saying, like, you don't really.
But that name is crazy. Like, you know.
No, but your name is really a good name.
It's a good name, but it has like all this pathos and legacy to it.
I just don't like the Gabriel part, but that's just.
Please explain why you don't like that.
Okay, I have this weird pet peeve thing, and I can't quite explain it, but I will just hate someone's fucking name to a point where it actually pisses me off.
I have a feeling it has to do with the fact that you don't like certain sounds.
Right, it's phonetics. It's also an energy thing. Every name has an energy.
Yeah.
And everyone picks a different energy for a name and like what they associate with. Like if I think of a Brittany, I think of somebody who's blonde and cutesy. Sometimes,
me too.
Sometimes they're not very smart, but sometimes they are.
Mm-hmm.
But they're always cute. They're always fun.
They're always like 5'3".
Actually, no, one of my friends, Brittany, is actually, I think she's like 5'9".
Really?
And she's a little stronger than your average Brittany, but she's really also very sweet. And she's also blonde. She's just like, hi, I'm Brittany. I'm friendly.
She a tall Brittany.
She's a tall Brittany.
Okay.
She tall girl.
She is supersized Brittany.
Hashtag respecting that.
Recognize. I recognize
the tall girl.
I recognize
so every name has an energy to me. And like when I hear a name, I think of a certain thing.
Yeah.
Charles is such a beautiful name. I cannot express enough how much I love that name.
And I have to admit, I wasn't crazy about that name early on up until like, and I don't like to say that out loud because my dad loves that name, and the history of his name is.
That's okay. I can love it enough for everybody.
It's his own ordeal. Like he thought his first name was Henry. He thought his name was Henry Charles Grant. That he had to get
That's
illegally.
That's a whole other episode.
He had to get illegally. That's a whole other story. But but I didn't really enjoy my first name all that well. But then when I started dating Lindsay, she started saying it in a way that I really liked.
Charles, like that.
Yeah, go say it one more time.
Charles.
I really enjoy that. I just like the cadence that she puts on it.
That's how I talk to him. I'll be like, Charles, I need to go to the store, and calmly just tell him what I need.
I really, and it really puts my mind in a calm place, and that's where I like my mind to normally be.
Yeah.
But like professionally, the way it worked, the way it's always been with me is if you've known me through professional circles or just as a friend. Basically, if you're not blood related to me, people will call me Charles. If you're blood related to me, usually you'll be calling me Gabe because that's just what people in my family called me. There's similar things happen because I have 6 siblings, and my oldest sister, Michelle, she has a similar thing with her. Her first name is Shateria, but we all call her by her second name because that's just what we do. But, that's what it is. But Lindsay, she don't like the name Gabriel. She don't like...
Especially don't like Gabe. Okay, I love Alexander. That is one of my favorite names. I mean,
it's a good name, and nobody calls me by that.
And your last name is so great that I always thought if I got married again, I wouldn't take the person's last name because I didn't like my first husband's last name very much.
Right.
But Grant, like Lindsay Elizabeth Grant sounds good. Charles, Alexander Grant sounds good. Let me get into the whole Gabe thing. I hate the name Gabe so much, especially for Charles. I hate it so much. It's like flames on the side of my face, heaving. So, and it's, I recognize this as stupid. I know it. I don't care. Fuck you. It's stupid. But so what happened was because I told him, I'm like, I don't really like that name because I feel like it doesn't fit him. I feel like it's a weak sounding name.
Yeah, she thinks she think my name is weak.
I sound like, because Gabriel isn't too terrible, but Gabe. It's the gay part. It sounds like you got your ass beat every day in high school. And I can't. So we watched this show called What We Do in the Shadows, and there was this whole episode where a character named Nadja was angry at a reincarnated lover because his name was Jeff now. Yeah. His name used to be Gregor.
Yeah.
And, that's a cool name.
That's a great name.
That's way better than Gregory. If I ever had to do Gregory as a name, I'd be like Gregor. That's
right.
Kind of close to my first husband's name, which is also kind of weird.
Pretty close.
Because Nadja's very much like me.
Right.
So it became an inside joke where, like, there was this episode where Nadja was like, I can't stand it. You're so weak. Your name is like a weak ejaculation. Jeff.
Right.
And so so I don't tease him about his name. I know like it's meaningful to his family and I don't try to be a bitch about it. But I only do it when he's being annoying. Charlie has this habit where he's very whiny. And very needy. You wouldn't know it by looking at him, but he's kind of like a giant husky dog. Like he looks all stoic and shit, but like when no one's around, he's always like, "Pay attention to me. I love you." And I'm just like, "Go over there."
I have my moments where I'll do because it's a constructive way for me to express like just latent emotions.
Well, your inner child was really blocked because of how you grew up.
I had to be so serious as a kid. Well, I mean, some of the time I didn't. I just was. But, I was a very overly serious child about everything. So now when I have moments of just, be childish and silly and needy, I'll just take him.
So when he's getting on my nerves and like, it's not malicious. Like, I'd like to just clear up, it's not malicious. We both are cool with it. And if he ever said it made him uncomfortable, I would obviously stop. So it's just all in good fun. But he'll be like doing this like whiny stuff. So whine like you normally whine at me, so people can see why I make fun of you.
Just be like, Lindsay, my pants are gone. Lindsay, I can't find my pants. You have to save me. Lindsay, you have to save me from myself. I can't find them.
Really fucking annoying habit where he'll be like, I can't find my pants. And like, he's like a flounder. He can only see on one side of his fucking head or something. Like, this fucking dude, baby can't find. And I'm like, dude, it's fucking right behind you. Look around. I feel like I'm playing Blue's Clues with an idiot. Like, I can't. Like, behind you, Steve. Like.
Or like when you yell at, you ever seen like a toddler that's really smart watch Dora the Explorer and just get mad?
No, but like, I did watch Dora the Explorer in high school to pass Spanish, and I would also be like, bitch, it's a hill!
Yeah. She's like, can you tell me where the hill is?
We gotta go to the house,
and you scream, and it's right in the frame.
It's
in the frame where it's behind her, and you're just like, it's right there. It's right there. Just go look at it. It's right there.
Like, it's that frustrating thing where it's like really fucking obvious.
And it's really funny when it's like a 3-year-old and they're very intelligent, but you know they haven't
and they get mad.
Yeah, and they just get mad. But they're
like, fuck you, Dora, look behind you.
Right. And they just stop watching it. But
then they have to learn Spanish the hard way.
Exactly. Right.
No, but yeah, so it's like that. He'll get on my nerves and like he'll be like, babe, I can't find me. Babe, I'm not.
Yeah, I'll just start screaming. I'll just start making noise. I just can't.
Or we'll be at a store and I'll be standing like 5 feet from him, like, babe, I can't find you. Babe, Lindsay, I need you to hold my hand. Like, it's just stupid shit like that. Funny. So when he gets on my nerves doing that, I'll be like, I'm Gabe, I'm so needy. And then the more annoyed I get with him, the deeper and more incoherent the voice gets.
Yeah.
And like, I'm Gabe, Gabe. I can't find anything because I don't have eyes. Oh, wait, I do. I just won't use them, like. This is like the thing is, instead of fighting and letting things like the small things building up in our relationship, instead of like letting little things that annoy us build up, because, you love each other, but you're going to live together and get on each other's nerves with little pet peeves. Instead of that, we just roast the fuck out of each other in the moment. We don't sit on things. We don't let it stew. We just are just like, you're being fucking annoying and I'm going to roast you about it.
Because familiarity breeds contempt.
And I don't want to.
That's just a human thing that'll happen. If you're around something for too long, you just start to get sick of seeing it.
I've seen Married with Children, yes, Charles.
Right, which is an amazing show we should talk about next. But
another episode.
Another episode. But this will happen to every couple of every kind. Like, it could go anywhere from romantic couples that have been together for 20 years to twins to friends. It's just the kind of thing where if you don't learn how to manage it, it could really cannibalize a decent relationship. Well, and it's all it is y'all spending a lot of time with each other. And if you don't put that energy somewhere in a way that doesn't hurt yourself or the other person, it can lead to a lot of problems.
It's not necessarily,
which is actually a lot of episodes of Deadly Women started like that.
And the contempt doesn't necessarily get so bad all the time where people break up or hate each other. It's just, if you don't give each other space, that's more likely to happen. Like, Charles and I are big on space to the point where he sits and edits stuff for other people, our projects like the podcast and all that, during the day. And most of my job for the podcast is like socializing on social media and, building hype and things like that. So anything I do for my work, I'll sit on the sofa and put the TV on in the background and just work. And Charles sits at the computer. And sometimes we'll just go for hours in absolute silence, but perfectly content because we really both enjoy our space.
Right.
So instead of getting mad at each other for having annoying human habits like everybody does, we just kind of roast each other and be like, you're being fucking annoying. And like the and Gabe, I can't find my pants. I can never find my pants. What would I do without Lindsay? I can't find my pants. Like, it's just how I
lose my pants often. There's a reason why she keeps talking about that.
Yes, so
because I'll go to sleep without pants on, and I'll wake up, and I won't know. I've gotten into a habit. I had to actually, you know how bad it got. I had to buy a whole new piece of furniture
because he kept losing
just to put my pants on it. So, not even in it.
So let me tell you something a little bit about our relationship. So Charles and I have a very unusual couple sleeping arrangement. So he and I have a bed
Let me break it down. What the arrangement is that we're an interracial couple, and no, I'm joking. I mean, I'm not. We are. Whatever. Go on.
So, Charles will go to bed around like literally probably 5 or 6 a.m. because he'd been up because he has really bad insomnia and for some reason functions better at night working and then sleeps better during the day.
Yeah, I always lean nocturnal. I don't know why. And
I used to be like that, but as I gotten older, I'm more of a early to bed, early to rise kind of girl. So I'll go to bed at 9 p.m. on an average night and wake up at 5:30 or 6. Make my coffee, put around the house. The pets will switch positions. The dog will go and stay in bed with Charlie, and the cat will come and chill with me. And while Charlie is sleeping between like the hours of 5 to like 1 p.m., like literally our first episode launched today, you slept through the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, oh yeah, I woke up like 20 minutes after the episode.
You're like, huh?
Launched.
We'll get into how you wake up in a minute because it's hysterical.
Right.
So while he's sleeping, I have realized this man has to sleep with his dick out and he will not
Why did you tell him that?
Because you just said you don't wear pants to bed.
Yeah, but that don't mean I don't have underwear on.
It's whatever. You have to sleep with your dick out. It's
fine. Hot. Can I just? You gonna tell him? You gonna let me tell him why that is?
Why are you getting all flustered?
It's hot. I sweat in my sleep, and I don't like how the sweat like ruins my clothes or the sheets. So to keep from sweating as much, that's what I do.
The
that's
thing is,
my
you don't have to
salute.
explain yourself. A majority of the people I know sleep with their dicks out and their titties out. Like that's just, it's comfortable for people.
Nobody's
going to judge you on your sleep.
You don't know
system.
that. You don't know that.
Well, fuck them.
No.
Fuck them.
I will not.
Fuck them. But anyway, so while he's sleeping, I have learned like he'll wake up and be like, I need to go to the bathroom. Like we know each other's like bathroom cycles and everything to a T, to the point where we know what the next step is.
Yeah.
So he'll wake up and immediately have to go to the bathroom and he'll be like, I can't find my pants, babe. And instead of disrupting my peace in the moment, because I'm like just off like eating and watching TV and I'm like, oh, this fucking shit again. I think that's what hell is. Just finding pants for the same dude every day of your whole life. So instead, what I started doing is while he's sleeping, I find the pants on the sofa.
Right.
And I fold it and I put it in an accessible place where you can get it. Basically, it's ironic because we're going from deadly women to how to actually have a healthy relationship and prevent deadly women from happening.
Right.
What I think is
I'm sure there's plenty of episodes of Deadly Women where the woman killed the guy because he couldn't find his pants.
Well, obviously, these were all very toxic and mentally ill people. Now, why don't you tell our lovely listeners the difference between watching Deadly Women with me versus watching it with your ex-girlfriend?
Yeah. Well, my ex-girlfriend...
Because you used to watch it with her.
I used to watch it with her a lot. It was I had a great time watching it with her. It was a very positive bonding experience in that relationship. Of
course.
But there was a part of it that wasn't very healthy. That wasn't pleasant for me. It wasn't pleasant for me, and this is what it was. So, okay, now my ex-girlfriend, she wanted to be a forensic psychologist at one point. That was one of the career...
Most psychopaths do.
Wow. That was one of the career goals that she had, which was cool. It just didn't pan out. But that was one of the things she wanted to do. It just didn't work for her. Yeah, it didn't work for her, which is it was all right. And the thing about it is, she would watch Deadly Women a lot too. And eventually, we realized that we both liked the show. Now we started watching the show together, and every episode, my ex would be breaking down all of these women's mistakes. And every time she did that, she would just look over at me and give me this ominous look.
Withering look.
Yeah, it's just like...
And not blink and shit.
She would say stuff like, that stupid bitch. All she had to do was use the lie and put it over here. If she just burned his face off with this and then put it in and took the face off, put it in a burlap sack and threw it in the river, then they would have never found it. And then she would just look at me and it would just be this awkward silence for like 5 seconds. And after a while, I started to think that she was studying, like she was watching this series just in case she had to kill me or wanted to for whatever reason. So, I'm
in danger.
It stopped being pleasant, and I stopped watching that show with her. And I don't know if she 100% noticed because she started watching Kitchen Nightmares every day, and I can't watch that show.
Just trying to figure out which knife would work the best.
however it worked, but but that's what that. Now with Lindsay, it's like we just make fun of.
It's also like you said when we first started dating that was like watching it with just a person who liked criminal profiling that understands how a killer works, but wouldn't actually kill somebody themselves. Right.
Versus okay, put it like this: like watching Deadly Women with Lindsay is like watching Deadly Women with like a Kojak or a Columbo or is Rizzoli Isles an investigative show?
I never watched it.
I never watched it. I
didn't really watch a lot of like detective.
I'm just trying to give them modern day references because I'm looking at Columbo DVDs.
Well, Kojak is a 70s reference. I mean, there's going to be like Gen Zers that don't even know. They're going to be Googling Kojak. They're going to think we're talking about BoJack Horseman and think we're unhip. But no, I'm like somebody who I've always had an interest in like criminal profiling and
like Murphy Browns and all of them.
Murder case. Murphy Brown worked in like advertising, I believe.
What? Oh, I had no idea what.
I don't remember, but it was definitely a business like that.
Oh my god!
But I can't remember. It was been years. But I watch it because I like studying like murder cases stuff like that. But I like knowing dark things because I know how to fight back and I know how to avoid these things. It's for me, it's more of a scientific study.
Right. So watching the show with Lindsay was like watching the show with a detective that was just reading up. But watching it with my ex was like watching the show with Dexter, where it was like
I'm gonna dry his motherfucking blood out.
Yeah, like in between bodying people and throwing them in the Miami River, wherever Dexter threw the bodies.
I didn't watch that swamps or something. I didn't watch that fucking show.
I watched a little bit of it. It fell off.
I couldn't really get into it.
I couldn't because Jimmy Smits was on it, and I think it was him, and that was dope. And then after he was off, I was done.
It was like your ex was sitting there with a notebook, like remove teeth, eyes, and fingers.
Yeah,
take off the head.
Right. Yeah, she was like, when you remove the teeth, microwave them because they do like a popcorn thing that you could just crush them up and throw them in a trash. Like she would take notes like that. And you didn't know that?
Well, no, I mean, it's all very interesting. Like the scientific facts you learn about this stuff is really like I found out through shows like Deadly Women that everything but human bones will burn. Human bones can burn, but it has to be over like I think it was like an obscene like 1,000 degrees or some shit.
Yeah,
like
human bones burn like
at an obscene heat.
Human bones burn like metal girders. You need like thermite and all kinds of stuff. Like it's not easy.
You can burn flesh easily, but you can't burn bone. And
no.
And it's interesting to see the amateur mistakes and the people who are killing out of passion versus killing out of premeditation. Okay, can I talk about one of my other favorite? And some of these are covered in Deadly Women, and some of these are just that I'm about to mention are just like really hilarious and weird murder cases that I enjoy hearing about.
Yeah.
One of my absolute favorites was the woman who found out her husband, the dentist, ironically, you'll find out why it's ironic in a second, was cheating.
Okay.
And she had I think it was her stepdaughter, in the car with her one night. She busted him out, I think, at a place he was cheating or something, and he ran out to the parking lot, and she ran him over with her car.
Wow.
And went dun 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 dun, backed up dun 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 dun. His daughter's in the car with her. And Wanda Sykes wants to, because I have to give Wanda Sykes credit on this, because she's the one who pointed out this case to me, and I looked into it further.
Yeah.
Wanda Sykes once was just like, look, can you imagine just running someone over with your car and looking at, be like, it's okay, baby, mom and daddy are just having a little spat. Like, how mad do you have to be a motherfucking for a man for cheating to pull his teeth out of your fucking grill of your car?
That's crazy.
Like,
you got to put somebody very far for that.
Like, first of all, I would just like to point out, I'm a very gray area kind of human here. If you got a good reason to kill somebody out of self-defense or whatever, do it. I understand that completely. I understand life is complicated and weird. But here's the thing. If your man is cheating, it's not only screwing you by going to prison, because you're definitely going to get caught, especially if you've never killed before. Don't be fucking stupid.
Right.
Second of all, in this sort of cases, it's like it's not worth killing the dude because you just move on. Be with somebody else. Like, I don't know, slash 3 of his tires and call him a bitch for an hour on the phone and just call him randomly at different hours and scream at him.
There have been plenty of music artists who have done that and made just wonderful careers talking about their crimes.
For fuck's sake. Like,
you could turn that into money.
Either just get mad, walk away, and, pick up the pieces and count your losses.
Or you could do what Sam Smith did and just get real, real sad and write about that.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of artists that got sad over breakups and got rich off it. So
look, I mean,
I'm not hating on it. I'm just saying it's a thing.
Taylor Swift's whole discography is just dudes she left.
The only one that she didn't write about a dude was the song she wrote about her friend Katy Perry.
Bad Blood.
But that was like her worst song.
That travesty to Kendrick Lamar's career.
I'm not a big Taylor Swift fan, but I'm not going to hate her hustle here. But I just don't.
No, I respect the hustle.
Yeah,
you know.
I'm not a connective of music, and I didn't really think that song was one of her better songs. Now,
it sounded like a song that was written for angry 12-year-old girls.
Well, and here's the thing: like, look at Adele too. Like, Adele's best music has just been, "Hello, my heart is broken. I'm picking up the pieces and singing a sad song." Like,
you know what I like about Adele? Every time every time you think about her voice, every image in your head immediately goes black and white and is in slow motion.
And then even if you're like me and you're not a big like public crier, you'll cry anywhere.
You ever seen grown men cry to Adele songs?
Oh, it's amazing.
It's so like hyper masculine men just walking in the street, and then they'll just walk past some Adele, and it'll just hit them right in the feels.
And you can see them grab their chest like they having a heart attack, and they're just like, "Hello from the other." Like,
yeah, hello from the other side.
Tiffany, why did you leave me?
Look what you did to me. You took everything.
Hello, it's me.
I can't believe you. I did my best.
I'm gonna go home and listen to Rollin' in the Deep.
I'm rolling the deep by myself because I'm in love with myself. And then they start doing that gag cry that we like. That's
oh God, and I make fun of that cry because I've had that cry before, and it's actually like the worst feeling in the world. But it's sort of fun and cathartic to make fun of it.
It's so fun. Like when you start crying so hard, you throw up a little bit, or you start dry heaving at the very least.
I have been through some really traumatic shit in my life, and like honestly, I've had some hysterical cries. But looking back at some of those cries and the reasons I was crying were hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's so many stories in your life that are just real serious when it happens, and then you look back and you just start hysterically laughing.
I'm be honest, every time I've seen episodes of Deadly Women, every once in a while I'll look at these women and go, you know, you could have fixed this with a good cry. You didn't have to stab him to death.
Yo, like I'll be sitting there, I'll be like baked as fuck and eating snacks, watching Deadly Women, and I'll just be like, yo, you could have just smoked a blunt and fucked his best friend. I don't know.
Listen, I realize that he cheated on you with your sister and brother at the same time, and you walked in on it, and plus you was at church. All you had to do was cry that one out.
Like, okay,
that's all you had to do. But now you in Sing Sing. This
is more directed to you know, my beautiful pansexual, bisexual people, because I think that might be the only way it works. I don't know. This just goes for everybody. This is good advice.
The cast iron pansexuals out there. Shout out to y'all.
I'm a copper pansexual myself. But anyway, because I'm all shiny.
Okay, I feel you. Go on.
And I rest near the water. No. Turn all green and shit. No, this goes for anybody. Just makes it easier that way. If your man is cheating, and he's cheating on you with another woman, find that woman. Don't hurt her. Fuck her. Fuck her better than he did. Fuck her so good she forgets his name and you both forget about him. He won't have either of you and he'll want to kill himself. The end.
That's deep. That's deep. That's one to live by, guys. You guys want to...
If you don't want to kill somebody... See, if someone is doing shit like that to you, you don't want to kill them. Hurt them worse than that.
Yeah.
Let them lose you. Take their money. Fuck the girl they cheated with. Do something that will scar them for life on a level that they cannot come back from.
In life, they say
I'm half kidding.
They say success is the best revenge. I say that in life sometimes you gotta attack somebody's character. Sometimes you just if they do something bad to you, then you attack the character. You go for the ego.
Right.
And crush their sense of self.
Right.
You know.
Like if it's a guy who's really arrogant about his dick and thinks he's super good in bed, go fuck that girl better and, you know, ruin her for him.
Right. Because up until Mariah Carey's recent divorce, there was no legislative hearing around, you know, demeaning somebody's character.
Well, specifically, she sued her ex for wasting her time and won like millions. And
$5 million.
I'm going to be honest.
For wasting her time.
I'm really mad about that, and not because she won. I am so happy for Mariah. Mariah, if you ever get to hear this, congratulations, boo-boo, spend that money well.
On the real.
I'm mad because I never got to do this, because I have had 4 past relationships where my time got wasted. 5 million times 4 is 20 million. I could have already reached most of my goal money by this point.
At least half.
At least half. Not counting taxes and shit.
Just collecting on the time that somebody else wasted.
God, that would feel so good in my proverbial dick.
And
like,
the thing, like, here's the...
I'd get it in singles and roll in it.
And here's the thing about Mariah. that seems petty, but when you think about the fact that time is not a resource that you can actually get back.
Especially with her, she's a singer. She has a very valuable career. And I'll tell you the God's honest truth, I hate people wasting my fucking time.
Me too.
I already basically want to charge people $500 for speaking to me if I don't want to talk to them.
Me too.
I totally get it. And relationships especially, you invest so many years or time and you give this person your body, your mind, your spirit, everything about you, and they do some shit to fuck with you, or they'll lead you on that they're going to marry you, or do something fucked up.
And then you on episode 14, season 50 of Deadly Women.
Y'all remember
that'll drive you crazy.
Y'all remember that song, Hit 'Em Up Style? Just do that.
Right.
Just, okay, you know what? The best revenge for a cheating partner is the Hit 'Em Up Style version. Hit 'Em Up Style split up combined with a Waiting to Exhale.
Which scene of Waiting to Exhale?
Angela Bassett.
When she burned
all of Angela Bassett, just all of
every
Angela Bassett.
Every single scene she
that
had.
Motherfucker.
Yeah.
One of my favorite lines of that whole.
And play DMX while you burn his car or hers.
We're not gender specific here at Jug O Sip. We're just saying.
Like this:
if someone cheats,
if you're a person and somebody cheated on you,
set the car fire.
And you're in the innocent party. Find a way to get your retribution. It doesn't always involve hurting another person. Sometimes,
no. Obviously,
what?
Don't actually set cars on fire. Obviously, don't do anything crazy like that. But that's just hilarious.
On the real, when you're thinking about healing from a wound, sometimes the best thing you could do is just learn how to love yourself better.
Yeah, honestly, I joke. I say these things. I'm like, set the car on fire. I would never actually encourage people to do that. So I just want to clear it. But
let's just say this.
We joke around a lot.
We at Jug O Sip do not condone arson.
We're violent. We're pretty non-violent people here. So
we will condone jokes about. No, we won't. Not even necessarily that.
No, I mean we fuck around a lot, but we totally understand that shit's crazy. But what I think ultimately and on the real, the best way. Did you break the?
No, I got it. Okay. I fixed it. I was playing with a nail clipper.
This is why I don't like it when you fidget with things. Give me this.
I like fidgeting.
I know. This is how you break things. So on the real, if you break up with somebody because they cheated or they did you wrong, the best thing you could do is get healthy. Physically, mentally, whatever. Every breakup I've ever had, I've done some sort of progress. I, picked up meditating more. I started working out, eating a little bit better, taking myself on dates. That was another thing we talked about recently was self-love and how to obtain it.
That's a really good point, especially if you're somebody that just came out of or are currently in an abusive relationship that you're trying to leave. Think about the one thing that person didn't want for you. It was health and happiness. The greatest revenge you could have against somebody that genuinely hurt you is to learn how to be happy and learn how to be healthy by yourself first, and then find somebody that complements that healthiness and happiness.
And sometimes being alone is hard. Now we're down to our last 7-8 minutes here, but what I think the boiled down episode is of this episode of the podcast versus we talked about deadly women and healthy relationships. If you're in an unhealthy relationship, don't retaliate with violence. Don't retaliate with hatred. I mean, on the real, you can go fuck the other girl if you want to, as long as you're not physically hurting anybody. That would just be hilarious. Everything else I said, I was just fucking kidding. But work on yourself. Take yourself on dates. If you look at yourself every morning in the mirror and say you're beautiful, if you had a partner that called you stupid, remind yourself you're smart. If you had a partner that called you ugly, remind yourself you're beautiful. Find a way to push those thoughts out of your head and take the experiences and make them into tools. Every traumatic experience can either be torture or a tool.
Yeah, and speaking on adding to
and toxic traits are the same way.
Right, and adding to the point you made about choosing to make it either a torture or a tool, for those of us out there who have had abusive partners and the kind of abusive partner that just harp on one trait you have.
And make you feel really horrible about it.
You might go your whole life thinking that one trait that you have is negative, like how I felt about my name. And eventually somebody will come out or you'll meet somebody that'll...
Charles' name, yeah.
Right. That you'll meet somebody that'll make you rethink just how positive that trait could possibly be. And even if it comes from yourself or somebody else, sometimes somebody will come along and give you the paradigm shift that you need to be more positive about yourself.
That's one thing I really love about mine and Charles's relationship. Ever since we started dating, we have slowly helped each other untangle and undo the knots of trauma that were left by exes and family or whatever the fuck might have fucked us up. We talked each other through it.
Yeah.
We reminded each other that it's okay to feel the way that we feel, and we remind each other that everything they said was not true. And we just do things to comfort each other.
And you know, because we started off talking about Deadly Women. We think that show has its hilarious moments, but there's a genuine tragedy behind that show in every episode.
Just like most of the things we talk about, there's a serious side and a comedic side to everything we discuss, mostly.
Yeah, and in every episode of Deadly Women, after a certain point, with the exception of the genuine sadists and psychopaths on the show, some of those episodes are just women who weren't loved right, whether it was themselves or somebody else not doing right by them, their family.
It shows how mental illness and trauma can go one of two ways. It could either make you a powerful survivor who turns everything into a silver lining, makes their traumas into tools, and makes a huge success of their lives because they pushed it, or the kind of people who it breaks.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make you weak. I'm just going to clarify. It doesn't make you weak or any. It's just some people just don't have the ability to get through certain things.
Yeah.
You know,
and everybody's at different levels.
I know we talk about
one person's traumatic event could be another person's Tuesday afternoon that they don't even pay attention to.
And I mean, I know we talk about some triggering things on here, and I apologize if that bothers people, but we only do it to educate and enlighten. But I have been sexually assaulted and abused, and I will honestly tell you, I look at my sexual assault very differently than some people look at theirs. And it's okay. They're not wrong and they're not weak because of it. No. I had other things that made me this way. And I mean, my life works for me. I have found a system that works for me. And ultimately, you have to find a way to override those negative voices and just find a way that works for you. That might require a lot of practice. It's going to take you years and time. And, you know, it's just all about being like progressive and persistent and not letting it get you down and taking these moments to be like, you know what? Someone said something critical of me and or triggered me in a way that hurt me, but maybe being triggered by this traumatic event might push me to heal. And
don't get it twisted. Self-love is a skill. You can learn it. You can definitely learn it, but it is to be learned.
And everybody has their own steps to figure it out.
Right. If you weren't fortunate enough, some people were very fortunate in life where they learn it through their parents or something like that. Like they have somebody that taught it to them organically. But if you didn't get that, you can learn that. It's an option. You can learn it. You just have to be diligent and apply yourself to learning how to appreciate your own existence for what it is.
Find out what works for you. Like my ex, when we broke up back in 2017, I had a very low self-esteem. She told me I was stupid all the time. Made me feel really bad about myself a lot. And it would be over little things. And I just always felt like I was never good enough. So when she and I split up, I started meditating again. And I started learning to love myself. I took myself on dates. And one thing I did, Charlie noticed this yesterday on my phone. My alarm clock says, "Wake up beautiful." That's the first thing I get to see every morning when my alarm goes off. It reminds me that I'm beautiful, that I'm loved, that I'm safe, and I'm perfect the way that I am.
Yeah. And it's
just a good way to start your morning.
And really quick, just speaking to somebody who has moments of intense cynicism, stuff like that used to get on my nerves when people would suggest things like that because
it just felt too flaky. But a lot of people come from a flaky place with it.
Yeah, and it
have
felt
the dark side too.
Right. It felt like it was coming from people who didn't go through as much as I did to appreciate how much pain I have experienced
until you met
me. And when you get advice like that, you can hear it. You can hear when somebody hasn't gone through enough, or at the
lack of sincerity is obvious.
Right, and those easy answers don't help. They don't help. So take it from people who don't believe in easy answers. This works. It takes work, but it does work. Because
Charles and I are very loving people and we come from a good place, but we're not like these love and light people. You cannot be pure love and light. You have to understand the darkness, the shadow, and everything that scares you, and let your demons catch you instead of running from them, because if you face them head on, you know how to fight your enemy. Think about this. If you are raging a war and you need to know your enemy, you need to know what their weaknesses are, what their defenses are. You know, you need to know all the details. It's the same with your inner demons. If you know how to keep them at bay and just find a way to make them work for you, it totally works. I do it in my comedy. That's why I joke so much about the traumas I had.
Right.
Because that's how I keep my demons in their cage.
It reminds me, you saying the bit about a war reminds me of the old adage about the two wolves. In every one,
which one you feed?
Yeah, in every one of us, there are two wolves. There's a good one and an evil one. And the one that wins is the one that you feed the most.
Yeah.
Which, that's a choice, but in many ways, it's not. It's just, you know, it's a little bit of oversimplification. Just, you know,
and it's far more complex. But before we wrap up, I mean, like, everybody has good and evil in them. The evil, like I said, can be a tool. Any of those negative things, like if you're a person who has deep anger or whatever the fuck, find a way to make it work for you in a positive way.
Yeah.
If you have anger, maybe go take self-defense courses and learn martial arts and become a skilled fighter. Channel that energy into a meditative state and use it as a tool.
Yeah. I did something similar. When I had my bad breakup with my ex, I was very distraught for many months, very depressed. And I turned that negative energy into building skills that I'm literally living off of today.
That we're doing right now.
Yeah. And, you know, you can, it doesn't have to end at your pain.
No.
It just doesn't. And, you know, as a final remark, that's what makes Deadly Women such a great show, because it's seasons and seasons of people who chose to let their life end where their pain began.
To let the dark overtake because they just didn't have it in them to fight that inner demon.
Yeah.
So with that, we are going to wrap up this episode of Jug O Sip podcast. So thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, be sure to follow us on all social media. We're available on YouTube and Spotify.
Just like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah, like, share. Please share. We're you know, we're early podcasts.
We're really honestly just trying to make money so we can work from home and don't have to leave.
Well, okay, look, that's half of it. The other half is we would love to find a way to make money off of something as positive as this.
Yeah,
and have it be legitimate.
This makes us feel so good.
Because we all need people that just talk to us. That there's a power in that, just having positive speaking.
Well, and I like, you know, the things we talk about where it's pop culture, but we're also trying to enlighten and educate. Yeah. So I want I want everyone to be happy and have something to learn from. So with that,
final remarks. Yeah, because I did one. You got to do one now.
I just hope everyone has a good night and take into what we said. If you're having confidence issues, if you're having whatever issues you are, and this episode somehow teaches you something new, let us know on social media. Let us know if this helped you, and let us know if we can maybe touch on subjects you might be interested in further.
Yes, and you contact us through social media.
At Jug O Sip.
At Jug O Sip. At Jug O Sip podcast. We're on Facebook and Instagram right now, and YouTube. Those are the
not Instagram yet. We're our social media is still building, but right now we're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, and we're on Facebook.
And Facebook. Okay, cool.
All right, guys. Love you. Have a good one.
Bye, guys. Take care.